exactly are we summoning an ancient Indonesian demon witch again?
It's an ancient Indonesian demon vampire witch. And it's because my Mystics in Bali review badly needs an intro. So repeat after me. Hreng, hrang, hrung, hek, quek, quek.
You know, it's really weird that the DVD actually included instructions on how to do this, isn't it?
Shut up and do it.
Oh.
Hreng, hrang, hrung, hek, quek, quek.
Somebody order a layak.
Ashens?
Who's Ashens?
He's more famous than you. Ashens, what are you doing here?
All South Asian demon witch duties in the UK have been outsourced to Norwich.
Ooh, cultural appropriation. But see, I told you it was demon witch. Yeah.
Though being a liak is nothing on doing a shift as a Penanggalan. And no, the irony of a loudly shrieking unattractive woman summoning a liak and having it being a middle-class English guy is not lost on me. Anyway, what do you need?
I'm about to watch Mystics in Bali and I kind of wanted an expert opinion.
And I'm about to leave because I don't want to be involved, so yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Mystics in Bali is an early 80s Indonesian horror film about traditional Balinese witchcraft. It's based on a novel called The Liak Nagak. Now, the people in Bali apparently take witchcraft so seriously that they had to film this in Java instead. The witchcraft is called Liak magic. Now, while it's pronounced Liak, it's written L-E-A-K, because it's secretly the Welshest of all monsters.
You misspelled leak.
The Welsh misspell everything. Have you seen their language?
It stars this German woman who was on holiday and was paid by having her vacation extended, this laughing bag come to life, Indonesian Aristotle, and Lionel Richie.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
Like all the best films, it opens up with this thing screaming at us. Maybe it's a remake of Time Bandits that starts with the rescue scene in Greece, and Greece is played by a void.
It comes across as more of an ultra-low budget Bond opening.
It's like Maurice Binder had snorted Ian Fleming's ashes and had a breakdown, in either order.
It's like someone turned the taint into a rave and added me. That is awesome. Holy fuck, this film was crediting about half the doctors in the country.
You know, half of these masks are laughing at us, but I suppose that's fair, we are watching this. This is like a crazed Chinese New Year.
That one just looks like Chewbacca by way of Godfrey Ho. This intro just creates bafflement. Start as you mean to go on, I suppose?
I'm surprised that a pretty girl like you would be interested in learning black magic.
That was the coldest of openings. That was the very first line. In Indonesia, first you ignore plot setup, then you ignore character establishment, then you shoot your movie.
Plus, only really ugly girls are into black magic.
Oh, come now, you're not ugly.
I was talking about you! These are the two leads, Kathy, the German woman, and her local boyfriend, Mahendra. She's apparently an expert in voodoo, but that's just a gateway drug for black magic, and she now craves the real thing, the liak.
She's allegedly some kind of journalist, but you never actually see her journalisming, so I'm thinking she's collecting magical powers to try and conquer the world like a distracted and wooden Rita Repulsa.
I agree, she's probably secretly Elizabeth Banks. Though she could be the author of The Serpent and the Rainbow, and voodoo has had some effects.
Like what?
Like it briefly turned her into Bill Pullman. Anyway, they're walking through Epcot, Indonesia, and she wants Mahendra and his tight-trousered, obvious sex appeal to help her investigate the liak.
A liak master can change his form at will into anything he wishes, like, say, an animal or a tree.
A tree! Truly the most useful of evil forms.
A tree!
I mean, Myra Breckenridge was pretty evil.
Or even another person. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Mahendra's dubbing makes him sound like a subdued Matt Berry or every voice actor in a Godfrey Ho movie. After some talk, he agrees to set up a meeting between Kathy and a liak master.
But first we get this local event thing made of screaming, clangs, dancing and self-stabbery. It took Kathy 2 hours to realise they were performing Macbeth.
I think it's a genuine local custom, shoehorned in to make Bali look like an interesting holiday spot. Not sure how necessary that is, though. I mean, the audience is already watching Mystics in Bali. Clearly it'll be the flying heads and oral abortion that'll convince them to visit.
Personally, I think the movie is trying to threaten the audience to see if they really want to stay. Sort of like the movie equivalent of a guy cutting himself to intimidate someone. Ah, fuck, that Liak tree transformation is astounding. You can barely tell that peeping Tom's standing on a witch.
Kathy, time to go home now.
And you? Where are you going?
Presumably a different home.
Mahendra seems to be into Kathy, but completely oblivious to her interest in him. This sets up a very important character point, that he's a massive idiot who's totally oblivious to everything going on around him.
From now on, we will be sounding the Mahendra horn every time he fails to understand a situation.
And I will play random sounds really loudly to annoy the audience.
Remind me why you have fans again?
You should ask yourself that. You're a patron.
Masochism.
Good answer. I would also accept fear. The next morning they head for a forest made of skulls to search for the Liak. Now, I don't want to say the Liak might be Davis Arini because that'd be very silly because Davis Arini would kill himself if he was as brown and female as the Liak. But it never drinks whiskey when on screen and neither does Davis Arini. And we've never seen the Liak and Davis Arini in one place. Listen, what I'm trying to say is the Liak might be really anti-Semitic.
Mahendra, perhaps you and I are the only two people who've ever dared to kiss besides all these old skeletons and skulls.
Because of you.
She really wants him to bone her and he still doesn't get it.
There's the stalker again. You know, if this was made a few decades later, I'd assume she was off playing Pokemon Go, catching an inappropriately placed ghost type. Well, that was an amazing first date. Looks like Mahendra's slowly working up the brain power to fuck her. He's in the same room as her while she's lying in bed.
You really gave me a fright.
I'm sorry, Kathy. I was just practicing my rape face.
You know the friend I told you about? He's just told me that he managed to find a Liak master who would talk to you soon.
So they wait until that night and go to meet the Liak.
But it's so quiet, it's like a graveyard.
No, that was the last place you two had tepid chemistry.
Remember, we're now confronting forces which are very far beyond our everyday experiences.
The Liak might invoke things like loud noises and optical effects.
I have to say, this choice of location and time really shows Mahendra's aptitude for putting his girlfriend in life-threatening situations. On the plus side, Kathy is wearing a jumper that looks like a cover of smash hits in 1984.
Among the Liak's lesser-known powers are living in a film studio and controlling the special effects.
Hey, I spotted something, I think.
So where is it then?
See there?
There! It's the rain rig!
That heap of earth seems to be shivering.
It looks like it, doesn't it? But that's not a heap of earth, Hendra.
It's clearly Sadako, driven to drink and homelessness by all the shit sequels made her do.
I imagine the collapse of VHS as a viable medium can't have helped her situation.
It's strange. Look at it. Why'd you think it's turning round and around like that?
Because it's drunk,
Sloshed,
rat-arsed,
squiffy,
chuntered,
jawsomed,
toadied,
zipified.
Georgian bungled.
Do you think the Yanks will assume most of these are real? I think his fingernails told a really funny joke and we missed it.
Yeah, no way is it laughing at our jokes.
The Liak laughter is their special trademark.
Well, if the review gets taken down from YouTube, we'll know she got Wi-Fi.
Who's there? The master certainly knows that we're here now, Kathy.
Might have something to do with the bright clothes and standing under a spotlight.
The Liak Master is this spooky old lady with a face like toast gone horribly wrong, and she never stops cackling. This probably explains why she has to live in the middle of a forest under a rain machine.
Also, she doesn't know where America is.
Catherine Keene from the USA.
And where is that?
I don't know if I should laugh at the Liak for not knowing that, or laugh at America for being really unimportant compared to the powers of darkness.
So who are you then?
My name's
Lionel Richie! Actually, no, that'd be smart. What kind of a moron gives his real name to the powers of darkness? Especially the powers of darkness who can't even ask spirits or something where the USA is.
I think she's just really happy to be free after 10,000 years.
Is everyone in this film going to be Rita Repulsa?
Of course not. Mahendra is all the little trained minions. Except for Finster, though.
You'll never forget this face.
Pretty sure I will.
Pretty sure I already have.
This is my face that you see tonight, young man. But you must remember one thing. My face will change every time I make an appearance.
Well, they're certainly on the ball about making this as confusing as possible. The Liak hobbles over to Kathy because the fingernails are overbalancing her, but the pact has been agreed. She will learn the ways of the Liak.
Finally, she'll have the ability to be unable to go to the bathroom without assistance.
Well, now we know where Thing from the Addams Family came from.
Evil Dead 2 reference.
Too obvious.
Eldred must live!
Too lowbrow. Too lowbrow.
That's a real hand in Maiden's Tale.
Go back to the first one.
Ash vs. Evil Dead reference. Suddenly it's the same place but the next night, and only a change of clothes to tell us that time has passed. In order to follow this film properly on the first viewing, you need to have a passing interest in fashion, which is more than these people have.
The weirdest thing about this film is that the ultra-powerful Balinese witches will hand out their powers like an arsehole will hand out his opinion, and yet they haven't managed to conquer the rest of Indonesia.
There's a terrible smell here.
Yes, that's the Liak's other trademark.
Who are you?
It's the Liak Master. They told you they'd look different. Now they're a bush.
Now have you brought those things I asked you to bring?
Yeah.
Hang on, asked you to bring? When? I saw this film recently and I don't remember them being asked to bring anything beyond themselves. And oh, it's bottles of blood? That just raises further questions.
Further questions like, what the fuck? So the Master uses its distended Gene Simmons tongue to drink the blood from across the glade. Roger Delgado's Master would not be seen dead doing this. Ainley? Maybe. Sim? Definitely. And I'm pretty sure Gomez is already practicing for a scene with Jodie Whittaker.
This is good blood.
Hopefully he won't realise that most of those bottles are filled with Tizer. It also wants diamonds, so unless blood comes from taps in Indonesia, this is getting really expensive.
Yeah, the cheaper option really would be to murder some people or raid a hospital.
Good. Now I need you to take off your skirt.
What are you gonna do?
Don't you argue with me. She must take off her skirt.
Sounds like Yoda's gonna sexually assault her. It's okay, I know you're into that.
The tongue casts a spell on Kathy. This literally involves it licking her thigh until a bad marker drawing appears. But don't fret, the film does assure us this is dark magic and not Neil Buchanan's idea of foreplay.
Looks like the cover to a Dr. Seuss book. The Liak Nagak strikes back.
The Liak Nagak sat eating a snack under the fruffle fruit tree. She said then, by Jack, if I don't strike back, those kids will have the best over me. The Liak Nagak, she had quite a knack for magic of blood and dark lores. She said, it might seem a bit bitchy, true, but Lionel Richie and his white girlfriend are terrible bores.
It looks like someone's about to smack them with a pool noodle.
This is a cloth full of black magic words. Take it!
Okay. How is it talking?
You don't need to answer that movie. We do not want to know.
Well, that was weird. Oh, how nice. Fog Monster from Actia Maximus took his family on a holiday to Bali. Good choice. After buggering off back to a house, Mahendra gives Kathy some traditional Balinese clothing, and his attempt to take another baby step towards fucking her is interrupted by this guy playing the colour purple.
Excuse me, sir. Here are your drinks.
Oh, here.
Put it down there.
The mood thoroughly ruined, Mahendra takes this opportunity to spend ages examining Kathy's thigh and reading the spell, even though it says the word Liak.
Liak. Ak. Liak. Liak.
Actually, that might be undeserved. He might be stalling so he can spend more time with her thigh. But if that's what he wants, why didn't he spend last night with her?
Louder!
The legends were true. If the need is great enough, Mike J will appear and save the day.
Yeah, I can also screw it up for you.
Get you, Jeffers!
Kathy, I think I can recognize this.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, it's a very happy map to your vagina. Anyway, time to head off and see the Liak again. Such cruelty. Someone's locked those white mice up in that grave. Fog Monster's using the local basketball facilities. Nice one. Get your money's worth. Oh, fuck, the Liak's laughing at him. I cannot stand bigotry against fog monsters. Crazy old monster woman who sell birdhouses in the middle of the night should know better, you know? Okay, now she looks embarrassed that we caught her selling birdhouses.
Easily the most realistic part of the film thus far. Lesson 2 begins with interpretive dance and Mahendra's banned from attending, but he watches from the bushes because Liak powers don't stretch to looking around before starting your ceremony.
Even though, on the first night, they specified that the Liak do just that to make sure no one unwanted is around.
Look at it, why'd you think it's turning round and around like that?
Maybe it wants to make sure that its presence has not been seen by anybody else apart from us two.
Okay, then I don't know who has more egg on their face. Me, the movie, or her. Actually, no, it's her. It's clearly her.
What is with her fundamentally broken version of the robot?
This is one of the most cringe-inducing things I've ever had to sit through.
Oh, Diddums never saw Emmanuel in Rio.
No, I didn't. But you did.
Yes, I did. I'm sad now.
Kathy sounds more like a speech synthesizer from an 80s home computer than a real human laughing. Fortunately for her, abject failure doesn't seem to matter that much. Most of this lesson is her trying to copy her master's staccato hokey-cokey.
Younger viewers, I regret to inform you that all dance looked like this before the invention of the Kinect.
It's true. It all looked like a clockwork swimmer, moving in slow motion. Walk like an Indonesian. Why can they hear all the clocks in Bali?
Because it'd be silly to hear all the clocks in Australia.
Suddenly it's the morning and Kathy explains to Mahendra what happened the night before, even though he was apparently there. Weird.
Last night at midnight, everything was exactly as we had arranged it to be. I was there with the Liak Queen.
Wait, she hangs out with the Master, then meets up with him, and then there's a flashback to her with the Master? This is harder to follow than Primer. The Liak Master and Kathy both change shape.
Into roughly pig-shaped fetish bodysuits. Well, somewhere Kermit the Frog's ejaculating swamp water. Being turned into a pig is shit. Someone could come along and shoot them. Hopefully this is a punishment for shit laughter earlier on.
That's the story, Uncle.
This is Mahendra's uncle, some sort of Liak fighting holy guy. Uncle, when I helped her to learn the ways of the Liak, I didn't expect her to learn the ways of the Liak. I need help, Uncle. I need help to fix this thing that I'm not responsible for in any way. Uncle, it was all for a good cause, you know? My dick. Eventually. Are you gonna use the Mahendra horn?
Why bother? I'd need a Mahendra horn loud enough to start the fucking rapture.
So tell me, is it true that another spell exists that is strong enough to fight this Liak spell?
A spell powerful enough to combat the power of pigmen? Say it isn't so!
Sounds like a Willow remake starring David Cameron's dick.
I would review that.
I would live that.
That is strong enough to fight this Liak spell?
Looks like he's forgotten his line.
Of course there is.
Magic in this village is passed down from uncle to nephew. Yes, literally from uncle to nephew. Maybe there's a lot of sister marriage in this village. Anyway, Mahendra seems to have gotten bugger all in the way of knowledge. Oh, sorry, prayer break.
Now, Mahendra, what was I saying before I so rudely interrupted myself?
Uncle, I believe we were talking bollocks. Mahendra hasn't got any knowledge, gumption or common sense, let alone arcane powers.
Uncle, I have a question. If I grew up in your company, then why was I stupid enough to take Kathy to a Liak master? Because you wanted pussy, nephew. You wanted pussy. So I already have 2 cats back at home, and I like them, but not in the way I like Kathy.
Hey, Uncle, why are you dressed like a waiter? And can I have a magic dagger to go?
This little dagger you see here has great power. It's yours now. Take it, it'll increase your power.
We don't get a good look at it, though, as the shot cuts away while he's still unwrapping it.
Oh, what a fucking dagger tease.
Hey, is this tomorrow, or does he change his shirt every 10 fucking minutes? Anyway, Mahendra tries to save Kathy from the Liak by excitedly asking her about what new powers she suddenly got.
And also you're able to think like another form of life?
Yeah.
Just last night I thought like a Norwich City supporter. Then I nearly committed suicide. Anyway, they're now trying to explain some bullshit about fireballs but not show it. Something that won't actually happen until later on, and it still won't make any sense then. This is filmmaking at its most accidentally non-Euclidean.
That ball of fire that you told me you had destroyed could be yourself. The fire goes out means someone has died.
Next time, just beat me to death with a torch.
Are you saying that I've killed another human being?
That's right.
Hendra, this is turning into the most horrible nightmare.
When I decided to study black magic, I didn't expect anything that resembled black magic.
This is turning into the most horrible nightmare.
You mustn't worry, Kathy.
But Hendra, this'll mean that I'm now a murderer.
Yeah?
So Kathy suddenly realises that she has poo in her hair and declares that only Liak magic can save her.
Hendra, only the Liak would be able to cure this.
Quite how she came to this diagnosis, we don't know. For all we know, she just ate a dodgy pasty. Oh look, the movie sent us a postcard.
That evening, the Liak Master will conclude its lessons with Kathy, and she'll become a Liak Master in less time than it took for us to make this fucking video.
Yeah, looks like one of those 48-hour Liak viruses that go round this time of year.
Apparently, one of the final lessons is learning not to react by punching her in the fucking face. I think they lifted that thunder sound from the opening of The Prisoner.
Okay, audience, fair warning. Time for the greatest scene in the film, as Kathy's head floats off with her neck, dragging her internal organs behind it. That is a great way to spread infection.
Also, that must have been a very dodgy pasty.
It's a good thing there's so many doctors in this film, because that's usually fatal. Of course, it's possible that she just really wanted to get away from the Master's laughter.
She's kind of like a blank-eyed Amazon drone delivering huge amounts of viscera. And all that she needs in return for delivery? A fetus!
Visual pun! Visual pun! Visual fucking pun!
What?
Well, she's getting head. Visual pun!
Plus, she's really eating that baby out. Does this count as lesbian?
It counts as the sexiest abortion possible!
Kathy's now a Liak, more commonly called a Penanggalan, a sort of South Asian vampire. The name is, of course, a portmanteau of the Malay state of Penang and Galen, the techno-mage from Babylon 5.
This just goes to show that pregnant women shouldn't sleep with their legs open. Either they'll accidentally give birth and the kid will be launched into a wall, or a white woman's head will appear and murder them with cunnilingus.
That just sounds like common sense to me.
Look at her face. That's not laughter, that's a cry for help.
I have now learned enough. Thank you for everything you've taught me and for all the lessons.
You can't just walk away like that, young lady. It's not so easy.
You know I can still hear you, right? You're pretty loud and I was walking slowly.
I will never let you get away!
And now, time for an all-new transformation sequence. Into snakes this time. There's them circling each other like if the fight in a mock time was fought with modelling, and a grotesque transformation, this time involving giant bloated lips.
Do snakes even have lips? Or access to Botox?
In this they do. How can we escape this shot without adding to the probably accidental racism?
Quick, to the camera shot!
Well, that worked.
And to think it took Dirk Benedict a whole film to turn into a snake and Is it just me or does Mahendra look weirdly turned on by the whole thing? Certainly turned on enough to commit sexual assault in the morning.
I mean, of course it's possible he went off to Thailand and developed a taste for lady snake, but this doesn't explain why she threw up live mice, though. I mean, Mahendra's unperturbed and thinks it's poisoning.
Perhaps it was the food last night that has made you so sick now.
So to repeat that, Mahendra thinks that food poisoning makes you regurgitate living mice. God, do you hear that? The Mahendra horn's gone into ultrasound.
folks in Film Ring can hear it. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Oh, how could you?
Very easily. Personally, I prefer to think of this as a short documentary on the mating habits of fireballs.
So, here we are. Finally we meet after so long.
At last, we meet for the first time for the last time.
Come and fight your master.
Who knew meteorites could have an arch nemesis?
I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break you.
It's like if Jim Henson went mad and set his nuts on fire. So it turns out that they water the grass with petrol in Indonesia. And remember, smoking's bad for you kids. Two of these were Kathy and the Master, but the third? I dunno, and the film doesn't feel like explaining shit.
After all these fireball shenanigans, Kathy rents a room to write in, while Mahendra buggers off because he's got to work or something. His love interest is clearly being manipulated by unholy forces, but that's not enough to take a sick day.
Clothes-based weirdness happens again as Mahendra opens the door, says 2 lines and walks back to Kathy, and by the time he walks into the room, they both change clothes. Fucking white people coming over here, stealing our jobs and our woman, flying around and eating our children.
Kathy wakes up soon after her latest nocturnal excursion. You see, the Liak needs the blood of 3 babies killed via porno abortion.
Also called abor porn.
The Liak needs 3 so she can become immortal or something. With last night's off-screen murder, that's 2, and the locals are getting nervous. They need to find out the identity of the flying severed head that closely resembles the only white woman in the area. Also, she assumes the blood on her lips is because she's been thinking about black magic too much.
Perhaps I was just thinking too much about my book.
Doctor's note, that's not how thinking about black magic works.
The identity of the Penanggalan is even worse, actually, because the local elders say her only interesting feature is her light-coloured hair.
The funny thing was, this flying head had light-coloured hair.
When she does not have light-coloured hair.
To be fair, they're not really the guys to deal with this crap. This is a local headscarf, red flower and cigarette appreciation society.
I'm afraid this world has become a very evil place these days.
Many have given up on wearing headscarves or smoking in groups.
This is an emergency meeting so they can go over stuff we and they already know. So let's do what they should have and skip it. Dear Diary, Mahendra is so dreamy.
But I fear his body got sperm and brain cells mixed up, thus explaining everything about him. Anyway, the Liak Master comes to visit Kathy in person.
Why are you so surprised?
Mainly because previously you could remove her head from across town.
But you still have not paid me.
Well, how much do you want then?
I'm not interested in money, my lovely.
I want speech therapy. I want you to eat more pussy for me because I have a fetish.
Don't.
Oh, well, this is a bit rapey, isn't it? Luckily, she's only sent off to find another victim for the Liak. God, her organs didn't line up with her neck. Well done, lads.
Check out this bit. It's like a lost 70s cop show with a straight-edge cop teamed up with a loose cannon flying head to get results. And that made-up show's name? Mahendra's Getting Head!
Oh, you already used that joke. How about, My Two Heads?
If Mahendra is a cock, then wouldn't that be my 3 heads? At least.
Okay, My 3 Heads. And they won't need to change that name for the inevitable porn parody. Get me Dick Bush, stat.
An A4 piece of paper with what I assume is the name of the show written on it! My one weakness! Other than a mob!
Magic Uncle finds Kathy's body, sans head, in the house, and cleverly places cocktail sticks into her neck stump so the head won't be able to reattach itself. I say cleverly, but you'd have to be a special kind of weird to have problems with cocktail sticks after removing your fucking head.
It's a hell of a way to stake a vampire, I'll give him that. Hey, I just realised, Indonesian Twilight must be fucking amazing. And hey, Mahendra won that race against the plot.
It's all clear. I think I know everything.
That woman you arranged to learn the black arts has learned the black arts. Am I close?
I don't know, Uncle. Maybe her head fell off on its own and went out clubbing. So, in a stunningly weird scene, Kathy's head flies back to the house and goes bobbing for toothpicks in her own neck. Unfortunately, it forgets it can fly in 3 dimensions, so can't get hold of the ones around her back.
This film's shit!
The locals then bury the body while its head is still out there, because of course they do. Hard to fault the head, though, it's just trying to get ahead in life. Mahendra and his uncle are going to sit vigil over the body for 3 nights to ensure the head can't join with the body, become immortal, and rule the universe as body and head or something.
No explanation for this is offered.
I guess it's all my fault that Catherine has become like this now. It's my fault. Because I started it.
You must move on.
Seriously, Mahendra, get some fucking perspective. You're being a bit of a pain in the neck about this.
Yeah, it's not like you've been damned with having the worst neck cramp in history.
You mustn't let this ruin your life.
You're right.
Jeez, Mahendra, don't lie like that. You're just begging for someone to fly in and eat your babies.
Is that a blowjob joke?
Probably. Oh hey, he's being visited by a dream of Kathy.
You've got to get my body out of the grave. You've got to help me for our sake. I love you.
Wow! That didn't even need me to explain why he's being a fucking idiot.
It's become sentient. Wow, her true demon face is liacking through.
Tell me, what's the meaning of that dream, Uncle?
Well, that you're fucked. They begin with the tradition of using the magic powers of God on Earth to move 2 feet to the left. It's also known as the Jeremy Corbyn maneuver.
We'll cuddle later. Scarpa! So now that Mahendra's uncle has gone from Van Helsing to full-on Doctor Strange, we find out he has defeated the Liak Master once before.
It's true. You have defeated me once before.
Hey, movie, you told us before that the Liak needed the blood to become young again. Were there not enough costume changes in that scene for you to pay attention to it?
I warn you. Don't try anything stupid.
Okay, fine. Mahendra doesn't get to plan the battle. The Liak starts the fight by offering an olive branch, and Mahendra's uncle counters by briefly turning into a music video.
I can't tell if she's meant to be growing or just getting closer to the camera.
These are small, but the ones out there are far away.
Oh, she's young again. I'm sure this and the laser-powered jumping thing will make a huge difference to the fight scene.
The Liak raises Kathy's body and then attacks him with her taser fingers. He's countering with his psychic masturbation defense, but he's too old and won't be able to last for long. Even less once he has his head almost completely torn off. Kathy ordered Mahendra to drop the mystical dagger that you forgot about until now, and because he's got a serious case of honky fever and really just wants his whip crackered, he seriously considers it.
The random stalker woman from earlier rushes in and attacks the master, and is killed immediately. With her dying words, we find out she's called Maya and used to be Mahendra's girlfriend.
And I swear to you, all we know about her is she doesn't wear shoes and she hides in foliage for a hobby. I love her.
What the fuck was his power level before the magical dagger increased it? A potato battery?
And just when you thought it was safe to think you'd seen the least developed character in history, in comes Oka! He's Mahendra's unmentioned other uncle, and it's like he's playing magic on God mode.
He's essentially Balinese Gandalf the White in a towel. I think that's the source of his power. I also think he was on the beach, smoking and serving with the tourists when he gets brother's message to come help. Anyway, Oka lets the Liak go and walk off being blasted by some optical effects.
Yep, she wanders off to regain her strength while Oka just stands there, confident that he's a badass in a bedsheet, before getting bored.
Not even blasting shit can stave off his boredom, so it is a fight that's at least 30% made of jumps.
We shall soon see who is going to die. Today it's going to be your head or mine.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
Oh, and Ed Gein's Miss Piggy cosplay has entered the fight. A pig monster does not have enough breasts. 2 stars. Oh, now she's a fever dream of Jerry Seinfeld doing stand-up. Nice one. Though I can't imagine that brightly coloured, laughing and dancing is a viable tactic in the long run.
You never could beat me, Hagan.
Well, that happened.
Are you sure?
Well, yes. Unless you spiked my drink. Have I been staring at a blank wall for 90 minutes?
Well, yes, but weirdly what you've been seeing corresponds perfectly with Mystics in Bali. You have a weird imagination. Nice of no one to mention that Liak are killed by sunlight. It made the ending a real surprise. Gandalf looks pretty happy though. He can't believe the trick with the trolls worked again.
And they also ran out of time in the editing suite because the film then just ends, right in the middle of a piece of music. Mystics in Bali is a masterpiece of terrible storytelling with a narrative structure that's totally shot to fuck. The actual plot is simple and makes sense, but is told in such an incoherent and bizarre manner that you can't tell what's going on. And this isn't helped by the characters acting in a stupid, almost random fashion throughout the entire film. If you thought the character motivations made no sense in Prometheus, just have a watch of Mystics in Bali. A much longer cut of the film exists with 30 extra minutes, but it's no more coherent. Just more boring. Mystics in Bali, like the United States right now, is a timely cautionary tale about having your life destroyed by a creature of immense evil who promises to give you what you want.
Too political?
No, I'm just trying to work out who Trump is in the analogy.
Everyone, especially Sauna Buddha.
Indonesian horror films have a reputation for being crazy, but Mystics in Bali really is just a load of people doing weird stuff. The real villain is Mahendra for setting Kathy up with a meeting in the first place. He must have known the dangers. Despite being a visually horrific monster, the Penanggalan wasn't used again until the 2011 Jim Carrey vehicle, Mr. Popper's Floating Vampiric Head and Guts. Mystics in Bali isn't a great advert for Bali tourism. Come to Bali and learn black magic in just 3 nights. Except we won't actually teach you, we'll just turn you into a shape-shifting zombie slave. It does, however, explain their most popular tourist gift.
Mystics in Bali is fucking nuts. I'm only half sure it makes sense, even if you have a full working knowledge of the Penanggal and the Liak and the magic guy in the smock. The acting is often non-existent, the dubbing sounds like 2 people and a random selection of drugs. The special effects were sometimes pretty good for a no-budget early 80s film from South Asia. The story is pretty much incomprehensible. People do things, then they explain why they're doing things, but somehow afterwards you understand it all a bit less. Overall, this is amazing. I loved it.
This film is memorable.
Yeah!
I didn't say it was a good thing, it's just a thing.
Oh. Are you going to turn me into a Liak now?
God no, you're 80% of the way there already. Never gave you a floating head, you'd just be more dangerous.
Oh, fair point.
Oh, I've got a dash. I've got a shift coming up as a yaksha.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Not really. Last time they just had me standing in front of a door for a week. See ya.
Whoa! Did you know they've got these huge bowls of punch in the pub downstairs? Like, just you should drink the whole thing.
Good, I need to get Georgian bungled. I'm Demanda Hagan and I'm Ashens. I'm a doctor, and I have a goatee, and I'm now a Liak for some reason. Norwich.
The Liaknagak sat eating a snack under the frufflefruit tree. She said then, "By Jack, if I don't strike back, those kids will have the best over me." The Liaknagak, she had quite a knack for magic of blood and dark lores. She said, "It might seem a bit bitchy, true, but Lionel Richie and his white girlfriend are terrible bores." The Liaknagak was on the right track with pig spells and great balls of fire, but things came to a head, when that girl turned up dead. The situation certainly was dire. The Liaknagak, she gave them a smack, perpetually laughing with glee. With every attack, why she sure did strike back, the last greatest mystic in Bali.
Tell your mother I hate her! Tell your mother I hate you!
Hello everybody, hello! My name is Teddy and I'm here to talk about my brand new headphones. They let me hear in yellow. I was able to get these headphones because the mistress was given money by the nice man called Patreon. You see, Patreon pays a few monies to the mistress so he can see the reviews early and without the black boxes that hide all the silly naughty bits. He sometimes also picks reviews for the mistress to look at, which is always fun. What Teddy would really like is for you to be like Patreon. Give money to the mistress and then maybe Teddy can get red headphones. Red phones! Yeah, so you do that and I get red phones. Do it now. Yeah.
Sunshine, lollipop.